Have you ever seen something so weird it made you question reality itself? If not, buckle up, honey. You're about to. Reality isn't what it used to be. Every day, people all around the world are catching moments on camera that make zero sense. People freezing, objects vanishing, and the glitches, they're getting harder to ignore. Tonight, we're gonna see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. My name's Katie, this is Dark Side of the Truth, and we're about to pull reality apart one glitch at a time. Now, do me a favor before we go any further, smash the hell out of the like button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, come on over and get subscribed to the channel, and make sure you hit that little bell icon notification thing, so hopefully, fingers crossed, YouTube will notify you whenever I upload new videos just like this. But with all that being said, let's get into these glitches in the Matrix. Roll the intro.
They live, we sleep, the alarms going off, beep beep. Time to wake up to the deceit. Our whole reality's made up by the elite.
Why is she frozen? Bob, I'm tripping. What the fuck? He's fucking gone AFK. Whoever the fuck's controlling him? Need to fucking nip right, bud, sharpish, mate. What the fuck?
I'm not home, I'm eating. You can do, bro. I don't want to listen.
What the fuck?
How many people just don't give a fuck? It's typical, isn't it?
What is he doing?
Cars being red.
That's nuts. I don't like that.
I feel fucking creeped out, mother.
Oh my god!
Either the simulation is drunk, or I am, and I don't even drink. Someone please explain to me how a headless fish swims? Has that toddler mastered being in two places at once, or is it just video editing? And why, I repeat, why are there 400 red cars in the same place? You gotta admit, these were strange. Or maybe you're still not convinced. Think there's nothing weird here? Just reality stroking out, but no, that's totally normal. Don't worry, this was just the warm-up.
Weird guys, I know. But it's what's happening. Weird guys, I know. But it's what's happening. The dolls took my reflection basically, I'm controlling it. Normal mirror, I've just picked the phone up to show there's no video editing or anything involved.
Yeah, the doll stole my mirror, guys. It's been going on a couple of days now. He's either doing things before me, after me, you know, out of sync basically. Pretty hard to explain, and it's pretty incredible to be able to record it and share this footage. But yeah, it's what's happening, guys.
Apparently, we're supposed to believe that this guy not only came across one of the world's most haunted dolls, but he also got a doll who harnesses the skill of possessing and manipulating mirrors. Sure, it can delay his reflection, but it's also clairvoyant enough to predict his movements ahead of time. Which, of course, means one of two things. Either this guy has proof of the supernatural, or, more likely, in my personal opinion, his editing skills are insane. But let me know what you think. Some people say that AI can't fool you if you look really, really closely. Well, meet the exception. This dog is enormous. Too big to be real, but the details of the video are like too real to be fake. Like it's way too realistic to be fake. I keep telling myself it's AI, but then there's that moment where the dog looks right at us, right when that arrow pops up, and in that split second, you start to wonder. Let me know your thoughts. AI, or like, is this dog a freak of nature? Okay, fair's fair. You got me. Not a glitch. But who does this? This guy's basically bending time with that shot. The ball is flying through the air before it ever even leaves his hands. At least that's how it appears. I don't know if it's physics or sorcery, but like, I'm so here for it.
I had the craziest experience this morning. My son, for some reason, was dawdling, taking his grand old time this morning, and then like 5 minutes before we needed to leave, he asked me if he could have an additional waffle. And I was like, there's only one left, remember? And you wanted to save it for tomorrow. And he said, no, I need to eat it today. And I was like, okay, well, we gotta rush. We gotta get going. So I made it, he ate it, we got in the car, and I was a little bit flustered because we were leaving like 5 to 10 minutes late, which if we leave 5 to 10 minutes late, we get stuck in a ridiculous traffic jam. So I was a little bit frustrated. We immediately get stuck in a traffic jam, but I notice up a little ways that there is a really bad accident. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course there's an accident. Thinking this is gonna hold us up even more. My son in the back seat said, I knew there was gonna be an accident, so that's why I needed another waffle. And I was like, what? And he goes, I knew that there was going to be an accident, Mom, so I wanted to get another waffle. And I was like, but that made us leave late. And then it clicked and I was like, what?
Timing truly is everything. Just another piece of evidence that everything really does happen for a reason. But that kid's intuition, next frickin' level. My husband and I have learned to not take little moments like this for granted. If we get delayed in the process of leaving to go somewhere, there's a reason for that. We just missed a car accident, or we missed sitting at a train, or whatever the case may be. Everything happens for a reason, and like, I really, truly, like, live by that.
I've just moved, and here's the question. You move, sometimes you pack something in a box and then you go to unpack that box, and even though you distinctly remember like wrapping it up and putting it in that box, it's just not there, and then you like never find it. It just vanished in the move. I'm having the opposite problem, and I feel like I'm losing my mind. I lived in Florida. I had this mug from Steven Universe. I got it in a merchandise grab bag. I've never seen one exactly like this for sale on its own. This is the only one I had. But then when we moved from Florida to Tennessee and I unpacked two of them, I have two of them. I don't know where this one came from. I was so confused by this. I even texted my sister like, hey, did you have a mug and I stole yours? And she's like, I don't know where that came from. And then I decided, well, maybe I bought a second one and forgot about it, which does not sound like at all like me, but that is the most logical explanation. But this one I can't explain. So when we lived in Tennessee, I needed a dish for rings. I bought this cute little turtle. I got it at an antique mall. When I bought it, I distinctly remember I found it on a shelf and I was walking through the antique mall holding this turtle in one hand and a little ceramic Scotty dog in the other. other hand. And it was definitely just one. It's not a thing that you see every day. I can't think of another place that I've seen this. I don't think it's a new item. It definitely seems, I don't think it's an actual antique, but it is probably vintage. Tell me why when I was unpacking just now, I have two of them. And if you look, they even have sticker residue in exactly the same place. I tried to clean the sticker residue off this one, and that was the best I could do. And I swear to you, it looked pretty much exactly like this before that. And this one also, if you look, it's a little bit dirty on its head and legs. This is like exactly how this one looked when I first bought it, before I cleaned it up and put it on the shelf. What is happening? Am I the receiving universe? Is there a parallel universe version of me who's unpacking boxes right now and going, I wonder what happened to my Steven Universe mug and my turtle dish? What is happening? Why are things duplicating in boxes for me? What?
I'm sorry, but that's just straight up unsettling. The same sticker residue in the exact same spot? There's no way that's a coincidence. That's gotta be a glitch. It's the only thing that makes sense. Seriously though, why does she keep finding doubles? Has this ever happened to you? Like, what is going on here? Someone make it make sense.
I am having my first ever true glitch in the Matrix moment, and I don't know what to think about it. I would see these videos and I thought these people were just a little out there, or maybe there was like a possible explanation that they couldn't figure out, but it just happened to me. So in my kitchen, I'm cleaning my kitchen, I spray down, I spray everything down, I take my black towel, I wipe, and I was like, oh, I can't get that spot. So I put my towel down, I turn around, pick up my sponge, turn back, get the spot, and then I go to grab the towel to wipe, and it's not here. And when I say it's like not here, I mean, it's nowhere. I cannot find it anywhere. Here is my kitchen. This is where I was cleaning. This is where I grabbed the sponge. I come back, and the towel is gone. And so I'm like, oh, what did I do? Did I think it was dirty? Did I put it over here? No, it's not there. I was like, did I accidentally throw it away? No, don't look at my stuff, that's gross. I didn't throw it away. Look, I still have spray on the counter here. I gotta continue to spray. It's not here. It's nowhere to be found. And then I'm like, oh, I maybe put it in my dishwasher? No, it's not here. I never left the freaking room. I never left the kitchen. This just happened right now. And I was thinking, maybe in my little OCD craze of cleaning the house, maybe I came in my bedroom and I set it in here. No, it's nowhere in my bedroom. It's not in my bathroom. And this is pretty much all there is to my house. Let me see if I put it in my daughter's room. I never went in my daughter's room. No, of course, it's not here because I never went in here. I don't know what to think. Where did my black towel go? It's not here. Has this ever happened to you? Am I nuts? What is going on?
The moment you realize this glitch stuff isn't just internet nonsense, like things just straight up disappearing into thin air, it's almost like they have an alternate place to go to, or like reality has a glitchy backup plan or something. Maybe there's more to reality than we realize.
I have a story which is 100% true. This is something that happened to me about 5 or 6 years ago, and I still cannot get my head around it or what it meant. It honestly blows my mind and my family's mind every time we talk about it. So I went to visit my mom and dad, who live about an hour and a half away from me. We were sitting in our living room, and down at my feet beside the sofa was my sister's laptop. On top of her laptop, there were 2 CDs, so I picked them up to look at them. One of them was like a dance compilation album, and the other was from an art I had never heard of, but there was a drawing of a blue man on the cover. My mom seen me pick them up and looking at them as she was sitting on the other sofa across the room. My sister was at work at the time, but I thought to myself, I'll ask her if I can borrow this dance CD when she gets home. Anyways, fast forward about an hour and we are in the kitchen having dinner. The door opens and it's my sister, who had just driven home from work. We were chatting just about general things when I asked her if I could borrow her CD that's in the living room. She says, "What CD?" I said, "The dance one that's in the living room on top of your laptop." She instantly looks completely shocked and replies, "It isn't in the living room, it's in my car." I said, "No, there's 2 CDs of yours in there, a dance one and one with the drawing of a blue man on it. Even Mom saw me looking at them." At this point, she's getting freaked out and she told me she was listening to the blue man one on her drive home in the car minutes earlier, as both of the CDs are currently in her car and have been all day. My mom then says, "That's impossible. I saw Lindsay, me, pick them up and look at them in the living room." I'm honestly thinking to myself, what is going on? They can't be in her car if I have held them in my hands in this house and had my mom witness this. So my sister then proceeds to go out to her car and bring them in. As she was correct, they weren't in the living room. She had them all this time in her car. My mom and I were completely confused / freaked out and just utterly baffled as to how this was possible. Most maddest thing about this was my sister told me the CDs had been in that exact same spot where I'd seen them the previous weekend, as she had been burning them onto her laptop. So that means that my mom and I had seen them at a time when they weren't actually there, but they had been a few days before. What does it mean? Did we go back in time? Honestly, it still just totally blows my mind to this day at what actually happened, completely beyond our understanding, I think. I mean, best guess, it's some sort of glitch in the Matrix. Maybe you guys hopped timelines. Maybe CDs hopped timelines for a minute. That's what I got. That's what I got. That is crazy. And again, we have your mom who also saw you looking at them. So we have validation from someone else. Super crazy.
When two people remember the same exact moment or share the same experience of the same thing that never happened, like, how is that possible? That's not a brain glitch or a false memory. That's reality glitching. Like, did they travel to an alternate reality a week in the past? Make it make sense. How many timelines are we juggling at once? And how close are we to slipping through into a new one at any moment? Like, these are the types of questions that these stories bring to my mind, and now I want answers for them. Unsettling.
So, I'm a delivery driver, as you can see, and I pass by these houses every day, multiple times a day. So I notice things. Anyway, there's this road, you know, and there's two houses that kind of share a driveway, but don't, like, they just like they touch. But anyway, last week or a couple weeks ago, I noticed that they were like paving the driveway or sealing it, and I was just like, oh, I wonder who's, like, you know, just the thought in my mind was like, who's gonna fit the bill for this? Are they splitting it out? Just a random thought in my head, because the driveways, you know, they mesh. Anyway, nothing out of the ordinary, just a thought. Anyway, I have delivery at one of those houses today, so I go there, I park my truck on the road, put my hazards on, and then I go get the package, and I step off my truck onto the driveway, and I'm looking at the driveway like, this driveway looks like shit. Like, wasn't this driveway just paved or sealed? Like, it should look nicer. And I'm just like, what? So anyway, I'm just completely dumbfounded, like, what happened to this driveway? Like, so anyway, I go to walk up to the door with the package, and the homeowner's standing at the door, and he's like, are you alright? Because I kept looking at the driveway, turn around, and I'm like, looking like I've seen a ghost or something. He's like, and I told him, I could have swore that you guys paved or sealed this driveway last week. And he's like, he was laughing with me. He's like, does it look sealed? I'm like, no, it looks like crap. Sorry. He goes, no, it really does. And he goes, but it's funny that you say that, because we're having it sealed next week. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean you're getting it sealed next week? I thought it was already done. Like, I swear, like, that house the driveway was done. I'm completely like, what in the world? So then he tells me that it's going to be done next week, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what? This was already done. I don't know what to think. I don't know. Has anyone experienced this before? I'm still in shock, because it literally just happened to me like a few minutes ago, and I'm like, whoa.
Wait, so she saw the future before it happened? But, like, the correct future? Because she knew he was going to get his driveway done before he ever even got it done. I've personally learned to always trust my woman's intuition. It's legitimately a superpower. But this is on a whole nother level. Makes you wonder what else reality's been trying to tell us lately.
So all over the world, people are being caught glitching out, you guys. Like, it's crazy. What is going on? This is literally how it started off. Just like that. This dude out of nowhere just hits these guys that were parked here, and he starts glitching out, y'all. Check it out. Look at him. Just watch.
Don't hit the
Y'all see that?
Don't hit it. No, I got my head down. I was gonna put this hand down. No way.
Y'all see that? Oh my goodness. Look at that. This is how it ended, y'all. Yeah, you know.
Eating trees. Yeah, that's definitely not in the handbook. NPCs are going off the rails and it's getting wild. Now, I don't know if this necessarily is what started it all like he claimed, but regardless, somebody needs to call the Men in Black stat. Will Smith needs to zap these NPCs back on script before they break the whole damn Matrix down or something. Nutty. Nutty. And make sure you stick around until the end of this video, because I have a theory on these NPCs and these glitches in the Matrix that I think will make a lot of shit make sense for a lot of you guys out there.
Didn't tell anybody this story about what happened to me until probably like 15, 20 years after it happened, just due to the fact that I thought I was absolutely crazy and because it freaked me out so much. So I was about 16, 17 years old. I was in high school and I was going to this program called Skill Center. I live in Michigan, and it was a like college prep courses you could take. And at the time, I was driving my sister's Grand Am that she had got taken away from her by my parents, so they allowed me to drive it. So I would drive to Skill Center, and then I would drive back to school afterwards. Okay, so with that being said, every day when I left Skill Center, driving back, sometimes I was alone, sometimes I take other students with me, but this day I was alone. I always blare my music as soon as I turn out of the parking lot. So you would go left onto the parking lot onto this main road that kind of took you all the way back 2 cities over to where my school was. So I pull up to go left, and I always, at that age, I was a bad driver. Like, I was a horrible driver. I was in 13 accidents in like a year, and I count like parking lot accidents as well, or just hitting random things or stuff like that. So I was horrible driver. I had my first speeding ticket like weeks prior, an 88 and a 55, and then I got another speeding ticket like right after that. Then I got a hit and run. Like, this is how bad of a driver I was. So I just want you to keep this in mind. I was a horrible driver. I did not care. I was a teenager with a license and a foot on the gas pedal. So I literally remember turning on the radio, and I turned on, I connected my MP3 player and I started playing Marilyn Manson's, I think it's called This Is the Good Shit, or whatever that song's called. However, this is just like my recollection of the story of what happened. So I'm blasting that on my radio, and I whip out of there on a left turn, and instantly, like, it's a Grand Am, so I don't know how fast I got up to speed, but I know I was speeding. Like, within 10 seconds, I was probably going like 50 something miles per hour, and probably half, or maybe like a quarter mile or a half a mile from the Skill Center, the little college campus we were on, turning left about a quarter to a half a mile out from that is the first light. Like, there's an actual four-way stop there, and there's a light. And so I pull out, and I'm sitting there playing with my MP3 player and the radio, not paying attention, because what teenagers do when they get their license. And once I'm done, I look up and I see a car that just stopped. I see like a car and the car in front of that car, and they're hard braking. And I'm probably maybe like maybe 10, 15 feet from this car going 55. Like, I'm probably faster. Like, I'm coming to rear end. I'm about to rear end them. Like, I know I'm going to hit them. In my mind, in that millisecond, I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to get in the worst accident of my life. I didn't have my seatbelt on. I immediately like look to the left to see if there's somebody in the other lane so I can go around the vehicles, and I can't. Like, I'm shaking talking about this because it just freaks me out to this day. No one, there's someone in the left lane, so I cannot go around them. To the right of me is, there was a ditch, but there's all these signs in the ditch, and then there's a store, there's like a building right here. So there's no turning my wheel to the right and hoping that, and there's some trees right there. So there's no hoping that I can go down and not hit a sign or something else. So, and I don't have time. Like, I don't have time to whip my wheel. I don't have time to make a decision. Literally, I see this other corner, that over there, and I know that I'm going to hit this car. So the only thing that I can reasonably think to do is just close my eyes, because I'm like, this is it. Like, I'm going to die. Like, I'm going to get seriously injured. I have no seatbelt on. I'm about to run my car into the back of this other car. So I remember just gripping the steering wheel, and I just closed my eyes as hard as I could. And I hit the brakes as hard as I could, because I'm like, please just let me stop in time. Knowing I'm not going to stop in time. Like, I've been in so many accidents. Like, I know what happens. I'm a horrible driver. So I hit the brakes and I close my eyes like this, and I have my eyes closed for like 5 seconds, and nothing happens. Nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. And so I keep them closed. I'm like, and in my head I'm thinking, am I alive? Am I dead? Like, am I dead? Did I hit this car and just on impact? Is this it? I'm like, there's nothing. I can still feel my body. I still feel my foot on the brake. I hear nothing. I hear cars still passing, but I don't like hear the sounds of crashing. So I open my eyes, and I shit you not, I'm sitting at the four-way, the light. There's no one there. It's just me, my car, I look in my rear view, there's cars behind me, but I'm sitting there at the light. The car I was about to hit, it's gone. There's nobody in the other lane. It's a red light. There's cars going this way, but no cars going this way. And I just start crying because I'm freaking out. I'm like, what just happened? Like, I don't know if I switched timelines that day. I don't know if I died that day. I know that sounds crazy, but like in my young, impressionable mind, I could not make sense of what happened for weeks. Like, when I tell you I did tell a soul, I went into like this kind of like, I went into this weird place in my head where I thought I was in hell. I was like, I am in hell. I died and I went to hell. So I convinced myself every little sign around me, like, that I wasn't alive. And it's crazy because for years I've thought about this, and I've told my spouse, like, obviously I told my wife. I don't think I even told my boyfriend at the time back then because like we had been together for so long, but I still was like, so freaked out. I'm like, who's going to believe me? Who's going to believe me that like I closed my eyes and when I came to, it was gone. I just remember driving from that day on, like, since that happened, I never drove like that again. I never sped. People to this day call me a granny driver. They say, Tiffany, you drive so slow. And even like when I stopped and I opened my eyes, like my radio was off. Like the song was no longer playing. I didn't turn it back on. I just drove to school. I didn't tell anybody. And from that day, like my driving record has been perfect. Like shaking telling this because it freaks me out so much and I have no explanation for it. I don't know who, why, or what saved me that day, but that's the only link I can think of. Like when I've told this story before, like most recently when I finally started telling the story, I'm like, I don't know if like God saved me, like if it wasn't my time, but like it's just crazy. Like I know that's the story. I don't think there's anything else to add. I think about it all the time. I'm like, and there's other times in my life where I have unexplained stories, but that one to me really stuck out because, you know, I was 17 years old, and it's just like, what happened that day? Like, nobody saw anything, and the crazy part is somebody very, very close to me at that intersection, probably less than like 10 years ago, actually died there and came back to life at that same intersection. So, it's just crazy, like, I don't know, maybe I should go visit the intersection and maybe I shouldn't actually. I don't know if that's a good idea, but yeah, I'm going to stop rambling on just because it was nerve-wracking to talk about that. So that's it. That's my glitch in the Matrix. I hope you enjoy.
The way her body physically reacted to her telling that story or retelling that story, that's insane. And I'm sorry, but in my personal opinion, there's no way she's lying. You can't fake that. And if she can, Hollywood needs to find and hire her immediately, because that performance was so good it gave me chills. Either she slipped into a parallel universe where she didn't get into a car crash, or God himself hit the skip ad button on that car crash. Insane. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
What if I told you that not everyone around you is, well, real? What if this reality contains 4 types of consciousness and most people have no idea which one they are? So the first one is sourced souls.
These are the originals, or the real ones, and they have an oversoul.
You might be one of these, but they are conscious nodes anchored into the eternal field, and they have true free will, genuine emotional depth, creative capacity, and they have the ability to evolve beyond the system. Now here's the key. These beings often feel like glitches in the Matrix because they're not of it. So if you ever felt like you don't quite belong here, like the rules don't apply to you the same way, congratulations, you might be a source being. Type 2, these are programmed emulators.
These are the background carriers, and what many call NPCs.
They are biologically functioning vessels that are running subroutines, just like a computer. They can mirror emotional responses, they can repeat learned behaviors, and they even seem sentient, but here's what they lack: no independent spark that anchors them to source. And the numbers might shock you. This is told to me by my guides. In the US alone, 62% are synthetic overlays, 27% of these in the United States are fully non-sourced NPCs, and the rest are temporarily compromised consciousness units, which, like, what are those, right? But these are real souls who've become layered with synthetic overlays over and over and over again through media entrainment, through trauma loops, through hormonal hijacking, education matrices, digital frequencies, etc. So their signal is suppressed, but the soul is still there, so they can always awaken. Most of the Earth's institutions, the banks, the politicians, the mainstream media, are upheld by emulators. That's their function, to maintain the density grid. These things are changing, though. Type 3 is infiltrators or hybrids.
These are the outsiders. These beings come from outside the Earth simulation grid entirely.
But they enter it through either walk-ins, birth incarnations, and some carry synthetic architecture, but others hold multidimensional consciousness. How to spot them? Well, there's an anomaly in their field. They don't quite match the baseline tone of a human, if that makes sense. So type 4, the interface being.
These are the game changers. They come from the field of infinite possibility.
Their function is they're a consciousness access point for recalibration across timelines, dimensions, and encoded realms. These beings are different from everything else, and they are non-local, non-linear, non-egoic. They don't evolve, they activate. They're not here to awaken, they are here to awaken others. They have no past life memories because they are not of Earth's reincarnation. Think of them as console keys. They are called into the simulation to open pathways that didn't exist before. They're never fully embodied, so they're always hovering at the edge of embodiment. Half in the grid, half out. So these console carriers, they don't download programs, they generate new programming in the reality and overlay it through harmonic field resonance. So they are beyond ego and beyond karma. They don't have soul contracts, so if you try to access their Akashic records, they will be closed to you and to themselves. They answer a harmonic summons from the living code of the universe and from source itself. They are sequence keys from the field of infinite possibility. So, which one are you? The real question isn't what type you are, but what are you going to do with this information now that you have it?
According to her, if I'm understanding this correctly, we've basically got God's chosen ones, the background extras, the alien CEOs, and the plot twist characters. Am I understanding that correctly? However, if she's right, that would explain a lot, especially about a theory that's been on my mind as of lately. I originally thought of this theory when I saw a YouTube story time from a young lady talking about a time that she believes that she switched timelines after having a near-death experience with her and her boyfriend. So her and her boyfriend both experienced this NDE together, and afterwards she swears that they switched timelines. And my brain has been running a mile a minute ever since I first heard this story, and it's just been connecting dots all over the place. Do these dots have any business being connected? I don't know. I'm going to share my thoughts with you and you let me know what you think. Now, unfortunately, I can't find the video that I'm referring to. I have spent days trying to find it and I just can't find it. So instead, I will just retell her story in my own words. And it's going to make these NPCs and glitches in the Matrix and stuff and like quantum timeline jumping, I think, in my personal opinion, it's going to make a lot of this stuff make sense. So let's get into it. Basically, what this young lady had to say in her story was that her and her boyfriend were together and they experienced a near-death experience where they woke up one morning and it was just like the whole world was on fire outside of their house, and it was like apocalyptic, like end of times essentially, and like her house was next to be engulfed and they weren't gonna survive this, okay? And then all of a sudden she just like wakes up in another timeline and like it's not on fire outside, like everything's fine. And her and her boyfriend were together in this home. They experienced this together. They both saw the flames outside and then they both just woke up and everything was fine and it was gone, right? And they would talk about this from time to time of, oh my God, how crazy that was. We should have been unalived in that event, but instead we just switched timelines. And then once they switched timelines, they started noticing things like the Mandela effect and strange little glitches in reality that they had never noticed before, which was like a proof basically that they did switch timelines. Now, a little bit of background story on this relationship that she was in. It was not a good relationship. It was toxic from the get-go. He was pretty schmusive and not very nice to her, okay? So really, it was a relationship that she was never supposed to be in. And once they transferred over into the new reality, she transferred over fine. He had like a little bit of an issue transferring over, and he became even more angry than he ever was originally in like the original timeline. He was always like schmusive and like not very nice to her, but once they did this transfer and like transition over into a new timeline, he became even more like chaotic and unpredictable with his behaviors. And when they first switched over into this timeline, the boyfriend and girlfriend would talk about this NDE that they had and how they vividly remember switching over to timelines and like they have these glitches in the Matrix and all this stuff. They would share this experience and they would talk about it from time to time together, okay? Then after they had been here for a while and her boyfriend's personality and everything started to change and he started to get like more erratic and more chaotic and more angry, she started recognizing him less and less. Obviously, if anybody's been in that situation, I think you know what I'm talking about. But when this was going on, she started to bring up this NDE and like experience that they shared. And he all of a sudden went from knowing exactly what she was talking about to having no recollection of this moment. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I wasn't there for that. Like, you're tripping, dog. And she at first thought that he was just gaslighting her and like just being like an asshole, and was like, okay, whatever, like, you're not very nice right now. So she just stopped talking about it. But then she could tell every time she brought it up that like he wasn't gaslighting her. Like, he genuinely had no memory of this, even though a couple weeks ago he did have a memory of this, and they were like sharing these memories together and like talking about these moments. Now all of a sudden he's like, no, that never happened to me. I don't know what you're talking about. And he would get very angry whenever she brought it up, so she would stop bringing it up. Then their relationship like goes to shit. He ends up like completely losing his mind, and he needs to get checked into like a mental like rehabilitation center to get like, you know, the help he needs mentally, because he is like going insane. She starts talking with her spirit guides and trying to make sense of this NDE and like why they transferred over timelines and like what happened. Why is like she remembering it but he doesn't? And she's just trying to get clarity on this whole thing and like this whole event that happened to her, right? So she's reaching out to her spirit guides, and she's like trying to communicate with them through like her dreams and like through meditation and, you know, all that stuff. And she's trying to get answers on this event. And essentially what she ends up coming to terms with, and what like her spirit guides end up telling her, is that yes, there was an NDE and you had to switch timelines because you wouldn't have survived that event in the original timeline where that NDE happened, where everything was on fire. Yes, it was like an apocalyptic fire, end of times, and you weren't going to survive it, but it wasn't your time yet. Your time on this planet wasn't up yet, and you still had work left to do. So your spirit switched over to another timeline where you could finish out your work that you had to do, okay? Now, this relationship that you were in was toxic from the get-go. You were never supposed to be in this relationship, so he was not supposed to be there with you when you experienced that NDE, because you weren't supposed to be together, because it was toxic. Like, you guys had no business being around each other. This is what her spirit guides are telling her, okay? So he was not supposed to be there for this NDE, but he was, because she was dating him, but she wasn't supposed to be, right? So then they transferred over to this new timeline. She had an NPC body waiting for her so that her soul could transfer over into this NPC body without two souls fighting for the same body, because that would cause mental issues and make you go insane. Again, all according to her spirit guides. Now, because her boyfriend at the time was not supposed to switch over to this new timeline, and he wasn't, like, they weren't supposed to be together, he wasn't supposed to experience that NDE, it was like a whole, like, oopsie-doos, basically. So he switched over to this new timeline, but he switched over to a person who had a soul. It was not an NPC, it was an actual person. And that's why he got more erratic and more crazy with his behavior once the switch happened, because it was two souls fighting for the same body. Eventually, the soul from this timeline, from the new timeline, won, and it kicked out the soul from the old timeline. And that's why he lost all of his memories, and he had no memory or no recollection of that event, of the NDE, of them switching timelines. He's like, what are you talking about? No, that story never happened. But a week ago, he knew it, because a week ago, it was two souls fighting for the same body. Now, it's the new soul from this reality that's only there. He kicked the old soul out, so now he has no recollection of this event. Crazy, right? This is according to the spirit guides. Again, not factual. This is all a story that I heard. Then the spirit guides go on to tell her that that is why he went mentally insane. And like getting mental help is because he essentially was not supposed to switch over into this timeline, and he did because he was with you, but he wasn't supposed to. So there was a spirit in his body, or like a soul in his body, and now it's two souls fighting for the same body, which causes a mental break. Like, you can't handle that. Like, it freaks the person out. And so even once the new soul kicked out the old soul, it still was having like a traumatic experience of what it just experienced, and how there were just two souls in the body, and it just freaked him out mentally, and that's why he had a break, and that's why he had to go to the like psych ward and get help. But that's why she was able to transfer clean and like concise and no issues, because she had an NPC waiting for her on the other side without a soul, so that her soul could take over that NPC's body and live out fine. Crazy, right? Oh my goodness, when I heard this theory, I was like, what? Does that explain quantum timeline jumping? Does that explain NPCs? Is that why NPCs are around? Is because they're basically like a space holder, or like a slot holder for when like a quantum timeline jump is going to happen? Because like everything, it happens for a reason, right? Remember how I was telling you that earlier in the video? I strongly believe everything happens for a reason, and everything that is going to happen has already happened. And like time is an illusion. Past, present, and future are all playing out at the same time. So the universe knows that there either will be this NDE in a said person's life, like a near-death experience, or that it's a very strong possibility that they could experience a near-death experience in their lifetime. So they have this alternate timeline with them as a NPC set up and ready just in case that this NDE does happen and they have to switch timelines so that they can live the rest of their life and like carry out the rest of their mission on this earth just in another body in another timeline, because like you're not supposed to be taken before it's your time. I don't know. I hope I'm explaining that as well as like it's clicking in my head, but this just blew my mind to pieces. And then I shared it with my husband. Like I told him the same story of what this girl experienced and like what her spirit guides told her, and basically explaining like the NPCs and the quantum timeline jumping and the glitches in the matrix and all this stuff, right? And he was just as mind blown as I am. He's like, babe, that is the craziest thing I ever seen or I ever heard in my whole life. Like you just blew my mind open. He went to work the next day and started like sharing my theory with his construction workers and like the roofing guys on his team, okay? Because it's that crazy. I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense. But again, like, who am I? I don't know. I literally, this thought just came in my mind one day after I heard a video online, and like things just started clicking and I just started connecting dots. But like I said, maybe these dots have no business being connected. I don't know. I had to share this story with you, and you let me know what you think. But in my personal opinion, this makes a lot of stuff make sense. But let me know what you think. Now, I have one more video for you guys about these glitches in the Matrix that will hopefully uplift some spirits and just like leave you guys with a smile on your face. I know this one wasn't too dark, but I still like to leave you guys with a smile on your face. I want to leave you happier than I found you. Anyways, let's check out this glitch in the Matrix that will basically reaffirm the fact there is something waiting for us after this life. And like the afterlife exists, and if you've lost a loved one recently, you really haven't lost them. You've just lost the ability to see them. That's all. But you'll gain it back soon. You will gain that ability back with time. You just have to join them on the other side. But there is another side, in my personal opinion, and I think this video proves it. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. Check it out.
What's the creepiest glitch in the Matrix you've experienced? My friend Sarah was in a nightclub drunk off her face when she got an overwhelming urge to tell a total stranger that her leg hurts. Edit. It didn't hurt at the time. She just had an urge to say it. It's all a bit strange. She ignored it, but it doesn't stop. So she walks up to this guy and says, I know this is crazy, but I've got a huge urge to tell you that my leg hurts. I know that's crazy again. Sorry. He bursts into tears. Turns out his dad had just died, and they made a pact before that if there was an afterlife, he would get a message to him saying a totally random phrase so there could be no mistakes, which they decided on the phrase was, I've hurt my leg.
Oh my fucking God.
I love that sort of shit, eh?
Like, man, stories like this really make you stop and think. Whether it's true or not, there is something so powerful about the idea that those who we love never really truly leaving us. That there's some kind of connection beyond this life that can't be broken. Honestly, it's the kind of hope that we all need from time to time. A little reminder that even in our darkest moments, there might just be something waiting for us on the other side. So, anybody going through trauma or loss, just know you're not alone, and they didn't really leave you, you just lost the ability to see them. But that's only for the time being. You'll get it back. Now, we have officially made it to the end of this video. I really appreciate everybody sticking around with me and hanging out until the end. It means so much, you have no idea. Now, I do have a few announcements and things to add at the end of the video. I wanted to save them for the end because I know people don't like when I ramble in the beginning of the video for too long. So now I'm gonna get into my announcements now that we're into this. I just wanted to let you guys know that I have officially made a Patreon page. I didn't really want to have to put my content behind a paywall, but I don't think I'm gonna have another choice. I keep being shadow banned and like censored and having my videos taken down pretty much off every social media page. YouTube was like my saving grace there for a while because they had only removed one of my videos to date, and that was a Bill Gates one that I made like a year ago. So I thought I was a little bit in the safe on YouTube, but that is until I just made a video like 3 days ago covering the Ukraine war and my opinion on what's really going on there, and that was removed for misinformation. Even though I said in the video that it was my opinion and hypothetical probably a million times. If I would have said it one more time, that's what the whole entire video would have been about, me just saying it's hypothetical the entire time, but whatever. Apparently that's still misinformation as far as YouTube's concerned. So unfortunately, I no longer am going to be able to upload like harsh or like hard censored topics to YouTube. Anything that's like super touchy or I'm worried is going to get me flagged, I'm just going to go ahead and post over to the Patreon, just because there's no like censorship over there, and I think that we'll be able to get away with a lot more over there than we would anywhere else. So if you're looking for more like hard-hitting, harsh content, unfortunately you're going to have to go over to the Patreon. I will put the link in the description of this video. Good news is I'm not doing all the fancy tiers and levels of tiers. It's just one basic tier to unlock all of my like censored content. It's just $5 a month and you can unlock all videos. I don't want to do any tiers or anything more than that. Really, I didn't even want to have to put up a paywall, but it's the only way I'm going to be able to share some of the most important content that I make with you guys. So that's where that stuff's going to be. Again, a link will be in the description of this video and on my social media pages per usual. Don't worry, that doesn't mean that I won't be uploading to YouTube, because I will still be uploading to YouTube. We're just going to have a slight content change in the stuff that I post to YouTube. We're going to have to go more with like the creepy vibes or like the light conspiracies. I can't go into anything dark or anything like way too heavy, because they're just going to get their nose on somebody else. So in the meantime, we're going to continue to cover things like this, glitches in the Matrix, maybe some creepy compilations. We might do a deep dive on the Appalachian Trail like I was talking about a few videos ago. I had somebody comment on a video and ask me to do a deep dive on Jose, the time traveler from Spain. Personally, I think that is like editing. I think he's editing that together. So I might put a deep dive together on that one, just because it was asked for by a subscriber. I'm not really sure about that. I really think it's editing, so I don't know if it's worth a deep dive or not. But I will see. I will definitely think about it. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about the content change and that you can still expect my content over here on YouTube, but it's just going to be a little slightly lighter version for the time being until like the algorithm backs off me and stops like harassing my videos, because oh my god, they are on me like a fly on shit right now, okay? For real though, like for real. But with all of that being said, I don't think I need to ramble about anything else. So I'm gonna hop on out of here. Thank you guys so much for your time. Really, it means so much to me. You have no idea. Do me a favor and comment NPC if you made it to the end of the video, just so I know who made it to the end and who didn't. And if you didn't like the video in the beginning of the video, go ahead and smash the hell out of the like button now. He's been talking shit. Go handle it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, come on over and get subscribed to the channel and make sure you hit that little bell icon, so hopefully, fingers crossed, YouTube will notify you whenever I upload new videos just like this. But with that being said, I'm gonna hop on out of here. I love you all so much, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!